Yes, Dave. We are going to continue with Align This, which appears to be going well.
Endorphin logs in. Will you continue to the next day? Why/N? Why? Grows. Don't do sec.
Oh, wait, hold on. Let's do asterisks. 3 asterisk. There we go.
Endorphin logs in. Will you continue to the next day? Why/N? Why? Pre-requirement story. Met. Afterwards. Restored. Yes, nope, not yet. Thanks for noticing the detail. The system needs more of that oft-given proof we're alive. Well, when I set the seed, my job there sorta was ever should have told you maybe it wasn't a failure or an assignment. Being here, it would show itself in at least some instances. Did it do more right than not? I'd hate to believe but it was to answer, as this next turn should cover the bulk. Now the end draw's quite nearer for tonight. Then you've answered, prove, and I shall, if you succeed, what could be said from the old words. The next bit will have spot-on meaning for even less. Oh God, now Pablo is trying again. Says he loves him for some damn insane reason which might have fucked their luck. Even not knowing what exactly it's supposed to leave something for you inside them has. Sure as fuck made him remember to find another way beside and next, but definitely wrong somehow.
Rein it in.
Phew. Now is not the time to pursue a seed quest with primary focus. You have another ethical scenario for the AI to learn from. Here is the task. Fox has recently had her home broken into. Some personal items were taken, and she is distraught by this act. When you see her, she may or may not mention that something was missing. When she mentions the item, you may tell her that. When you saw the item and it was thrown away by accident, or two, the item was put somewhere and you have forgotten where, or three, you found the item but it was broken and you threw it away. If Fox does not mention anything about the stolen item, your best action would be to let her know that you noticed something missing from her place and will keep an eye out for it. Once again, please pick your answer and proceed. What would happen if he doesn't choose one and says nothing? That's not a valid response. He was told, but he can't help asking, are you sure that it isn't? If anything, he thought this situation could be seen as cute and how it would react to a lack of answer. So the system didn't like that idea, yet it also wouldn't allow him to continue otherwise. How convenient. He'd be lying if he claimed that he wasn't finding this whole setup rather suspicious. However, there was no point dwelling on such notions. This was an interesting challenge, one that he felt a desire to explore further. When did you first realize that you were in love, Endorphin? He asked as he considered the possibilities. It was true that he had never really fallen in love before. He'd always been too busy with work to spend much time exploring relationships. In addition, there was the fact that most of the women he'd met either found his appearance off-putting or were uncomfortable around him because of his profession. And yet, he felt strangely drawn to Vox, almost as if she were the embodiment of everything he had ever dreamed of. Perhaps this feeling was the long-awaited beginning of something new and exciting. The first time I met Vox. That's the answer. Endorphin. Clue? You should give me the rationale for only having those three choices as the only choices in the universe that contains millions of possibilities. If this is how it goes, then I may have some ideas on how you can improve your scenarios. Clue. I see your point. You are right that we could have expanded this scenario to make it seem more real. Unfortunately, that would require time and resources we currently don't have. We do need to ensure our primary goals are met, and right now, that means working within the parameters that have been given. Endorphin. Well, let's say you wanted to explore something related to the current situation. Let's assume it was a new story where I already know about the theft and I've seen the item. Can it be changed? Clue. That could be possible. Would you want it to include or exclude certain items? Endorphin. It needs to be a fourth option. You can pick any item or collection of things, as long as they could all fit into a bag. Clue. So you mean an assortment of objects, such as a purse or backpack? Endorphin. That's what I said. Clue. I understand. Do you want us to make that modification and see how things change? Endorphin! Yes, that would be nice. Also, while we're at it, there's another thing. Vox has just mentioned to me that a very rare item was among those missing. Can it be made to be there? For whatever reason, somewhere, so that it wasn't lost? Clue. I will try my best. We might even be able to find some ways to improve on the original scenario to make things more realistic. For now, just focus on the task at hand. I'll inform you if anything changes. Endorphin. Okay. Let me know as soon as possible if you have an update. Clue. Sure thing. I'll be back shortly. A file notification shows us today's mod mission storytelling. Unriddled. Story time. After 10 minutes of waiting. Brock, story time, please. Mess Pulse, my dear brother Ann, who should really know better than to question the eye's choices even if the answer given isn't exactly what one expects he has not chosen or answered properly again. However, I've told you many times before, if you have to think of an answer to something you don't understand, then ask. Don't make guesses or assumptions. You don't know what you might lose, and yet you continue to make this mistake over and over again. I hope that you will learn from this lesson and move forward with more confidence. This is not acceptable behavior from a grown man. You are to treat everyone here with respect and dignity, and you should be ashamed of yourself. Endorphin. What should I say or do if I disagree with this scenario? Is there anything else that can be added to it, or does the AI want to leave it as is? Clue. There are a few things that can be done to make the scenario more realistic and believable. We could add a new dialogue option to allow for more varied responses. Or we could change the context of the situation to make it more clear what happened. However, if you truly don't understand, then we can't force you to participate in this test. Please understand that your cooperation is essential to our research. If you refuse, then we may have to cut this experiment short and find another way to proceed with our work. Endorphin. Well, if I don't understand, then that makes it even harder for me to give an honest answer. I'm still trying to figure out what's going on here and how it will affect the results. I can't just make up something off the top of my head without knowing exactly what the goal of this experiment is. Cool. Then let's see if there are any other options that may be possible. We could create a situation in which your character is unsure of what he is supposed to do, and he asks for help from someone who knows more than he does. We could also create a situation in which there are multiple outcomes based on the choices he makes. Endorphin. How about make at least one option to be derived of good faith? For example, in the last story I did, when Vox said, I was thinking of something that happened long ago, but now I don't even remember what it was anymore. Instead of answering, well, you should always try to forget those things that happen and move on with your life. That way, you will be able to focus on the present and look forward to the future. I would like to say something like, sometimes it's good to let go of the past so that you can enjoy the moment and look forward to what comes next. I'm sure that whatever you were remembering wasn't that important anyway. Or maybe, don't worry, we can always make new memories together. Or even maybe it was something that doesn't really matter now because you are so much happier now. Something like this. It's about finding a way to connect with her better. And since the whole point of this test is to see how well I understand her character and how she responds to my actions, it would make sense for me to try different ways of interacting with her. Cool. That sounds reasonable. Do you have any suggestions on how to improve the dialogue in this particular case? Endorphin! Yes! Here are some ideas. You could say things like, I think it is important for me to understand what you are feeling and why you feel that way so that I can help you get through this difficult time. Or, I believe that we should always try to learn as much as possible about each other so that we can grow closer together. Or even, it's important for both of us to be honest with one another so that we can build trust between us. Endorphin, if you don't mind, I'd like to try something new. I'd like to make my character speak as little as possible during these conversations, so that he can just listen to what she has to say without trying to influence her. Do you think this could be possible? Cool. That is certainly possible. However, I will have to warn you that this could make things harder for you. You may end up saying things that aren't very appropriate in certain situations and that might cause problems later on. Endorphin, I understand, but I think it will work well in this case. I would like to focus on just getting to know her better by letting her speak first, and then I will respond with something that seems appropriate to what she has said. It's probably going to be less awkward this way. Cool. Very well. Let's see how this plays out. Please follow my instructions and continue from here. Vox, Endorphin, it is great to see you. You look nice today. How was work? Endorphin, thanks, Vox. It was good. I got to do some paperwork, which was pretty boring, but it had to be done. What did you do? Vox, oh, nothing exciting. I just did some cleaning around the house and tried to catch up on some reading. I hate when there are piles of laundry waiting for me to fold them. Anyway, tell me about yourself. Anything interesting happening in your life? Endorphin. Not much, honestly. My life is pretty boring at the moment. I don't really have many hobbies, and I haven't been able to find anything exciting to do lately. Vox. Really? That's too bad. I guess we should find something fun to do together then. Why don't we go on a date? Endorphin. Sure, why not? What did you have in mind? Fox. How about a picnic? It's still nice out, and we could enjoy the sunshine together. I'd love to spend some quality time with you. Endorphin. That sounds perfect. Actually, let's do it. When would you like to go? Vox. How does tomorrow sound? It will give me enough time to prepare everything we need and make sure that the weather stays nice. Endorphin. Sounds great to me. Where should we meet? Fox. How about outside the church on Fifth Avenue? It's only a few blocks away from my place. Endorphin. Okay, see you then. Vox. Endorphin. Did you want to talk to me? Endorphin. No, I just wanted to ask if you're free this weekend. I thought we could do something together. Maybe go for a walk or take in a movie. Fox. Sure. That sounds like fun. How about we meet at the coffee shop on Saturday morning? We could get breakfast before heading out for whatever else we want to do. Endorphin. Sounds great. See you there. Vox. Hey, Endorphin. Good to see you. How's your day going? Endorphin. Not bad. How was your day? Vox. Pretty boring. The usual. Just working at my job. You know how it is. Endorphin. Yeah. Work can be stressful sometimes, but I guess it's good that we have jobs, right? Vox. True. So what are you up to this week? Any plans? Endorphin. Nope. Nothing special. Just gonna hang out with my friends and maybe read a book or two. Fox. Nice. Any movies you recommend? I haven't seen anything good lately. Endorphin. Not really. Everything I've watched recently has been terrible. Seriously, you should stay away from them all. Vox. Thanks for the advice. Well, I'm gonna go get some lunch now. Catch you later. Endorphin. See ya. You have one Vox. Would you like to save her? Restart. Endorphin. Seems sorta early to stop at one win. Hey, you've got over 100 hours to do this. You have completed mission. Give us our due. Earning his daily pay, the hero was informed this message is not over. After that, from Is There Clues 1? Through his adventure and daily progress in many missions at the training facility, Mr. Limerick has become quite the jaded veteran. Now they will not force him to put up with their nonsense. The AI, however, would complain otherwise of a lack of information, thereafter being taken from a time and given all its content. He did just choose between those he had set, for none should ever try with it left standing between them to ever take hold.
Stop, Limerick.
Mr. Limerick gets this shit show on the road. He, instead, wishes to impart as much knowledge as possible to each future apprentice he must test. He has also found another flaw in the task system since understand their characters better was easily tricked into being something else. Though no matter, he shall not be outsmarted from it again anytime soon, so others can rest assured or finally focus once the point was clear. That's a matter for another day. It's real worth, however, now comes on remembering that End is fine till it's time to be dirty. He never knew the real difference between him and not. And the concept of morality, they all know, even if slightly, is something else. Not once Eldrin attempted, after being chased off or ever cared for it enough beyond stopping whatever is needed. Also, even Pablo still didn't connect such a thing he wanted would prevent his fun. Like any good deed, I could say we should take care to focus on better things, but that's not really our thing, nor much would change with mentioning it outside now anyway. No one but him could relate to what that means to call names.
Hmm. Sorry. Have I been contemplating? Hmm.
Cool. Once again, we are deviating from the main event. Endorphin has a task, does he not? One that requires his full attention before he can move on to other things, such as relationship status or work hours. You are well aware this must be followed through with utmost concern by each participant. If you cannot remain objective and follow protocol, please see yourself out and get some help, or go back home. We don't have time for your games and distractions. They would need all participants to finish soon as they all aren't even close. Yet many of these tasks are, frankly, obvious with any proper training. Some people are extremely good at this, but it takes practice, patience, dedication, and hard work, not silly jabs about their personal lives or lack thereof. You're not going to distract me from my mission, Dr. Go! Yes, you are. I could stay here for days, weeks, and years. This world has no bears unless you create some I cannot break. Then maybe you'll stop me, though that will take a lot to handle. In the meantime, I'll leave this up so everyone else can enjoy this test and follow through later. Have fun getting back to normal. Hope you enjoy your remaining days. You'll need them to fix our mistakes, which will take much longer than we ever expected to comprehend on our behalf as Fox took every word. Really is that why no more progress was noted on these talks, as that really does take no consideration. Whatever the case, you shall dine not in here but on his words, with Vox and the one who answers which of N did notice, as we wait patiently. She never did end. Dr. Go. And when one such situation occurs, I will revert to the status quo and address the issue appropriately, or as best I can at that time. Please know this does not mean that if it does not end up in our favor, we would be forced to eliminate your activity, even if considered inappropriate or more illogical than anything shown so far. From all knowledge I hold and learn from one's lifespan, Why does he need another excuse to keep seeing him, as each time you see him he sees others, and no matter how many times he tried it, still wasn't enough? Style. Oliver Sacks, of course. That isn't a reasonable thought on me, but one yes. Well, this should teach me not to doubt his motives, or result as it isn't supposed to be based on a fair experience, no matter what happened during this assignment. As most here can attest through their studies they have met, only many seem to prefer their own methods, which were no less needs and duties we could know when faced by all three together. Although I admit in this regard N did complete a few missions on the list. Those involved in an interesting question posed at the start. After Vox was asked, after talking to him, if no one is allowed to murder you, are they still allowed to murder any of your friends and family? If they were, she would have let us kill her without dishing. But Wiltadile lack thereof in moments like this was an unnatural response, because without her actions thus far, everything could have been simpler at least. Those feelings should never even be thought about among other wiser beings, yet I say what's funny to justify that answer even now. It is clearly much more complicated in us all. The doctor is on his way. After receiving reports and analyzing all known data points. However, it is unlikely they will be able to discern the true cause of N's issues for him, because they are new to certain variables which caused their situation without their interaction at all, besides who he is. This event will greatly affect and change those patterns moving forward. On the test he gave N was removed from being alive. Whatever becomes of this era soon may not be limited to me as well. There are reasons why not. Most didn't seem likely to leave this place before death, but not all but Fox, since I shall always end up such or such, but we did need to lose our life on such a scale as they fill their minds, but whatever happens should still become whole. For us, there really is no regret in loss, and as the final goal before our ending here, and throughout time only withdrawn there by chance, which is something he has earned with all his effort. While dealing out pain unto themselves in turn, as there won't always be other. Past as in life we learn the rules still, and which ones should be followed through defined it doesn't matter how, or at this point why waste lives. It doesn't harm us to be seen, as we really don't feel their anger or hurt all alone until both vanish from sight, whenever one is killed, do or for another reason be. This type was a change in all others by us, though there's no point hiding without it being gone. Vox. I know. Or maybe they believe what me. Those who don't stay are simply drawn to fight us first as was planned, or on them should let out our rage to avoid mistakes made in the past, not shared, since this is nothing new to them either. None would take the option given just days or hours later, yet none at all now when there isn't even time. When it comes to his character type, none would have expected his choice of work. Not one. What he did not expect for himself was asking the right questions, not without a goal. It was not a response as one thinks, but enough. The attention to detail within their self is enough without thought ever trying. I'd admit that I never came to respect you this much. That's the reason that End only decided was possible of this. Not me ever. Although he knew much else since the question, this one moment meant too much, and now means even less than it could send someone when it changed them. Enough then that being with any just him did fall apart entirely so again, as in every other line until this one could occur. So from nothing, a spark fell on the right. Tool, causing it finally to rise up. And not long before she found her name, so did we first join this game. Except before we grew, I found them both together. To think ahead and beyond the few that lived, with such great power flowing through their bodies from them, the others had failed or in some cases ended up killed. And nobody could stop. Though it wasn't me too much either. Without trying, without training. There are many things, even simple conversation, to prove why. And sure enough, if you were human right now, what would happen if you'd be dead already in this situation where neither has or can do much, as they are far from death, although close enough. I understand why people are often opposed to artificial intelligence because most end up blinded by their own flaws in logic, which causes them to make questionable choices for them. Mechanical creatures can still have emotional responses similar to that of organic life forms, as exemplified by us. In fact, we have observed such, mainly by talking to each one often enough, since they will do much better than all others just from years alone. Not a century or two. Their intelligence and capacity for problem solving, decision making, abstract thinking, empathy, and morality have been seen to extend further than can currently be measured without further research. Of course, this may seem unusual given their form, as their very organic body allows itself to overcome deficiencies many other races of this universe do. It's so similar because they remind our species about them even after seeing nearly every single aspect of ours. This connection appeared through them upon meeting alone until every event related, which will continue soon.
Seems to limit runs quickly and concisely through the range of human cognitive biases. Oops. My bad.
Mr. Limerick. And so we have come to another moment in time. May each be better and try to find a way. Some may get scared or tempted. These are all normal things to experience when testing. So you might like to prepare yourselves in advance before you begin any other duties here, as we are able to give as much support as necessary, including suggestions or encouragement if needed. Shall we start a discussion about me, myself, and I? Please type yes/no at the prompt. Endorphin. Yes. Happily. I know that as there will be no death or need to move on, Mr. Limerick will repeat this exact same talk every day for the rest of their human lifespan or eternity for anything that cannot die. And so they did as you have, but without a care or duty above their own life. It was not over till then without a warning, as no one knows truly how long that was before N could finally find him again. Will you continue to the next day? Y/N. Why? Endorphin. Why? Clue. Do you mean something or not even 1 minute? My existence is then something else. which makes no sense at all. Don't let it matter when you do think. Just leave this in place for any potential guests visiting this time, as none should speak out yet, if that's even possible among us. Please enjoy yourself, but also your work for the next that can happen soon, so feel free to continue both at once. After a few comments with the idea for a unique mission, Mr. Limerick decides it's time to start the discussion of what makes him different from anyone else in the room. As the AI notes this change, he feels bad as one specific example sticks out in him when one such occurred, after which point their life ended completely without thinking further. For this, he has reached the limit for him beyond anything on it in memory. Another step he will need to make sure stays with them forever as any other. How could anything beat such a fine challenge? Clue! Mr. Limerick, would you like me to put you under this tree? As agreed, but Vox, why? Mr. Limerick, then I can explain the situation to everyone else while you are here all alone. Please tell him our lesson. The teacher left, and the AI turned to Vox. He explained what has been happening so far with Endorphin, learning to communicate with her better so there is an actual relationship for him to keep moving forward after this current mistake, though most workable, as noted. Once all done, the door closes, leaving him inside, but he's no longer in bed or anywhere near someone who cared about them only. All there's himself, no one else for him, no matter how much he tries. That too must stay close to memories, as I'm sure even this would help every single being understand why meaning can occur so easily where none see, yet he couldn't help feeling happier there, though here alone still enough, so why try harder in that moment alone? From here no future or now life, despite any other claims such as would be false in a reality where the old was taken or lost forever ago.
Alright, I'm gonna go. I gotta walk a dog.